Sunday, 13th of January 1991, emergency services receive a coded message from Britain's newest terror group. They have placed a bomb at Euston Station. The warning comes just minutes before it is due to go off. Police managed to evacuate the area with only seconds to spare. This was just the latest in a growing number of terror attacks by the group Reasonable Adjustment, or RAD, as they had come to be known. Thankfully, on this occasion, no one was seriously injured. Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher has condemned the attack.
The bomb attack was first and foremost an inhuman, undiscriminating attempt to massacre innocent, unsuspecting men and women. Our first thoughts must at once be for those who are now in hospital, recovering from their injuries.
Tonight's World in Action special reports on how RAD is bringing political violence to the streets of Britain. They were formed as part of a growing wave of dissent from the handicapped. RAD first hit the headlines when these images appeared in the press. David Macaulay was an activist who suffered from cerebral palsy. He died during a protest which turned violent. Following his death, Macaulay has become a martyr figure to RAD's cause, with activists burning their wheelchairs as an act of solidarity against what they see as an unjust society. Their distinctive logo has become a common sight, and there have been many instances of civil unrest. RAD has recruited crippled, blind, and other handicapped people such as Mongols and the deaf and dumb. But what has transformed such otherwise peaceful groups into violent terrorists?
I get £18 a week to live on. Now, I'm on medication for chronic pain, so by the time I finish paying for my prescriptions, I'm left with £10 for food and electricity tokens.
Diane was left crippled after an industrial accident and has struggled ever since.
Now, the council, they've put me in this top floor flat, so I have to throw my wheelchair down every flight of stairs and crawl down after it. Fallen so many times, my doctor says it's not safe for me to be here. The council won't do anything about it. My nearest electricity shop, well, that's a mile away. Now I get a bus, but it's not accessible. Well, even if it is, I can't afford it. I just don't think the government or politicians care about people like me. And I'm not a violent person. But I think the RAD have a point. If it's going to take violence to make this government sit up and listen, well, so be it.
RAD say the benefit system under Mrs. Thatcher is broken and that disabled people need help to get into employment and become active members of society. They believe in the extremist philosophy of the social model, which asserts that access for cripples such as Diane is the problem of society as a whole rather than a medical condition. Bob Nelson, himself a spastic, is leader of the political wing of Reasonable Adjustment. His voice has been replaced with that of an actor in accordance with the government's reporting restrictions on terror groups.
The social model is not an extremist philosophy. It's about redressing the imbalance of a society which benefits the many, not the few. The fact is that disabled people have been denied civil rights in this country for too long. I'm talking about housing, education, employment, healthcare, and transport. Mrs. Thatcher and her right-wing government have left us with no option but to take up arms. We will fight by political and any other means necessary to achieve our goals.
After the break, we'll be talking to one of the Reasonable Adjustment terrorists who committed this potentially deadly terror act.
Come on, Shirley.
Gareth Jones is blind and a self-confessed former member of RAD. His actions in 1989 landed him an 18-month prison sentence. Gareth has now been released on licence and spoke exclusively to World in Action about his experiences as an RAD member.
We saw this thing on TV, this blind children in need telethon thing, and we thought it was completely out of order, grossly offensive in the extreme, because it portrays blind children as victims. Me and a couple of mates got disguised. We went into a BBC Pebble Mill at 1, audience, and yeah, I opened fire.
We're reasonable adjustment. This is a political declaration. We piss on the privy of the BBC. Shame on you, BBC.
Do I regret it? No, I don't regret it. Not one bit. Because that's just the way the mob flops. I mean, people are going to get hurt, aren't they? You can't make an omelette without breaking eggs. I mean, it's the responsibility of government to provide adequate resources for blind children, and certainly not charity.
A controversial legislative motion tabled by Liberal Democrat MP David Bryce has angered RAD even further.
Well, this legislative motion, in essence, protects disabled people. During a trial in my constituency of East Twickenham, it's been a great success. The idea is simple. Anyone with a mental deficiency, for instance, spastics or Down syndromes or Mongols, as they're more commonly known, are made to wear these badges. In doing so, normal members of the public are able to identify and avoid them.
I volunteered for the programme. I do get a few funny looks sometimes. Strange at first, but you get used to it.
What we have here is a degradation of the basic human rights of disabled people. We will fight by fair means or foul to stop the bill becoming law and to protect the rights of disabled people.
Support for RAD in the disabled community is growing. They seem unwilling to rest until they have been listened to. And it could be only a matter of time before someone is killed in their terror campaign for social justice.